Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Saima, for joining me on this interview today. And, like I said, I know I've always seen you as a force to be reckoned with. And my family, we love your halal meal prep boxes. What do you think you do differently in your industry that's helped you to stand out and led you to where you're now in your business?
Firstly, sis, thank you so much for having me. And I really appreciate how what you've described me as. I'd never thought of that as myself. I thought I was a complete wreck personally. I guess that's behind the scenes. What you see is completely different, right? But Alhamdulillah. And yes, you have been one of my lovely customers as well, and you've used this a fair bit, which is great. Your question,
Yeah.
which is I would first say is how we've connected with our community and our offering, which differs from other offerings out there. And
Mm,
what I'm encouraging is us to have more of an understanding of how we eat, what we
mm,
eat, and our relationship with ourselves. Because I believe everything starts with food, right? And not just because I'm
yes.
in the food industry, is I've always believed that. And I think that's what's different. And I listen to my customers and genuinely listen to my customers. I mean, you know that I'd ring you every time you'd have a box. How did you get on with the meal? And I'm sure you must have thought this person is really annoying, right? But you,
Not at
you,
all. I love that. I love that high touch service and that you were willing to find out what your customers really want and to actually, cater to them. So I definitely love that.
yeah, and I think that's important. And I think starting any business, especially when you start a business, is to really get to know your customer from diverse backgrounds like yourself, right? Because everyone is different. So I would say that is number one, connecting with your demographic. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I love that. Are there any kind of networking groups that, that you're part of or events that you go to? What kind of any subscriptions that you're like part of?
That's a really good question. And I think I start off first with looking at my industry and seeing how that industry is developing, whether it's a non Muslim industry, because the meal kit, as you know, is predominantly a non Muslim industry, right? And then
Mm,
there's only a handful of if that even. But I can stay. That's how I stay connected. Is to look at the industry as a whole, look
yes.
at what are we doing within the Muslim arena, such as you've got the halal food festivals, for instance, right, or you've got supper clubs, for instance, and then it's also looking at what is out there in terms of trends within the media as well. Right. And those are the things. So it's a culmination of things. And also, I like to think outside the box and I go to sometimes even museums and stuff, right? And it's really interesting because when there's a current museums on, like for instance, at the moment there's a twist or there's another one, that immersive experience at the moment in Tottenham Court Road. And I look at all of these things and I think that also inspires me to see what are the trends and how can I fit them into a food trend.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And just to go back to what you were saying about looking at what was available in the industry, and then back again as well to what you were saying about listening to customers. I remember when there was this whole craze or like a whole trend of all these meal prep boxes like Hello Fresh and
Yeah.
Mind Chef and all that. I was like, oh, if only there was a Muslim alternative. And Alhamdulillah, that's when you came about. I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. But definitely, I've also loved how, you're not just doing some standard boxes, you're actually putting twists in there and it's really exciting to get the recipes or see the recipes before ordering because they are twists on what we might be familiar with and like it and just to draw back to what you mentioned about going to the museum and all the immersive experiences, like even the kind of food that you put out, I feel like they are an experience in themselves.
Yes, no, I appreciate you said that. And it's like you said, I think the couple of foods that we made, which were obviously we made Thai food, we made Japanese food and Vietnamese, and I send the and you tried some of them, and I'd ring you up if you remember, and I'd say to you, what did you think of it? Is it authentic? We have added our little, desi twist to it, a
Yeah.
Pakistani twist to it. And I think it's really important that when we develop recipes, I tend to develop recipes that are world cuisines, looking at that and comparing us to what we eat at home, right? And
Yes.
how can I make that different? How can I add value to what you already know? So therefore, when you are at home recreating that dish, you're thinking, well, actually, this is different from how I would have made it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important for me is to give something different and be different in that regard.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, I love that you kind of just gone with it and it's almost like you're trailblazing how we should consume our food as well, and how we should experience it.
That is the mission, sis. That is definitely the mission, because right now when I see the foods out there, and I think, and no, and you know what? There's no judgment or anything. I just think to myself, wallahi, that's not what we should be eating day in, day out. Those should be like little treats, not, we should be taking qadar, and especially now with Ramadan. This is what Ramadan is, right? Is teaching us that to eat spiritually, to eat clean.
Yes, yes, and I think I saw you had like a 1400 euro recipe.
Yes.
Oh god, that was amazing. That's just I think that's such a genius idea, especially like for Ramadan as well.
Yeah, you know what, sis, you need to try it. And honestly, I think this is the recipe that I'm most excited and most feel privileged to buy
I'm
since
sure.
I've started. And this recipe, I kid you not, we spent at least a day or two developing it and really understanding the origin of it. And when we researched it and we found it, and we were looking at at our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and looking at the foods that we should be eating, in contrary to what people eat. I really wanted to bring something else to the table so that we are mindful about our portion sizes, and we are mindful about what we're putting into our body, and and controlling all of that. It's sad. It's in a way, I mean, we're closed right now. I've had so many people say we want to try that 1400
I
euro
know.
recipe, and I'm like,
I
but
did
we but we did we did a U-turn. I mean, we were meant to stay open, and we developed recipes for Ramadan, but at the lastminute.com, alhamdulillah, I had this light bulb moment, and I spoke with my team and I said, look, I really want to give, Ramadan the haq that it deserves, because
Yes,
last
I
Ramadan
get you.
and the other Ramadans, I'm so in my business, even though I can take the time off, but I still have to be present. And I didn't want to ruin my ibadah this year, because I don't know whether I'm going to see next year. But this recipe will come out again, inshallah, but not come out. It's already out there, but we will re-bring it once we reopen,
Inshallah,
inshallah.
please do. Please do. I
You know
love
what?
that.
I will send you know what, sis? I will send you a box. I will send you a box
Oh,
to try, because I really want you to try. I want everyone to try it, because everyone that's tried it, sis, have said, Saima, this is one of your best. It really is. It
wow.
really is.
Well,
Yeah. And I
I
say absolutely humbly, humble, 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 humble.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you for that. And you know what? I love that you are consciously taking that time out for yourself to basically, reconnect with your faith, and reconnect with Allah, and it's so important. So many of us in our business sometimes, like, we're just thinking about the business, and then we don't do that for ourselves, for our own, like, spiritual well-being.
I think you have to, sis, and I really do. I was watching a khutbah, and I'm going to share it with you, and that's what inspired me. Honestly, it did. And sometimes, as you said, we get so entangled in our business and on this virtual digital life, that this
Mm,
time, taking that time out, has really helped my mental, my spiritual, my soul, my mind, my body, everything. Has really and truly helped it. Don't get me wrong, I've only minimized it, but it's like 10% on social media now, opposed to the 100% that I was on there, right? Or 90% that I was on there. And it really helps us to you to distance yourself and recheck yourself and realign yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that provides your rizq, right? And plus I want brownie points from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Because I've taken a whole month, I've taken a whole month off, not only for myself, but also to say thank you to Allah ta'ala for what He's given me, because I feel truly humbled by what I have.
yes,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I think we should all do that more often, really, isn't it? Rather than just Ramadan. It's so hard to do that sometimes.
No, I think it definitely is hard to do that. And I understand it, because not all of us have the same resources to do that, right? But if you can, honestly, it's transforming me every single day. That I'm actually sad that we've only got these few days left, and it's I've seen myself in a different light, and seen things that I want to change, things that I want to improve, things that I can be better at. And it really has. It's been a soul searching spiritual experience for me, that I honestly I can't thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough for it. I really
Well,
can't.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward you abundantly for that.
All of us, inshallah, all of us, for our efforts, alhamdulillah.
What do you believe women in business should invest in to move the needle in their business?
That's a really good question. And I think the first thing you need to do is look at yourself before you can move that needle, because everything does start from yourself. Look at how what does resilient look like to you? What does ambition look like to you? What does success look like to you? What does failure look like to you? What does mistake look like to you? And if you can look at all of those things, you
Mm,
can then move yourself forward and expansion. You can, what's the word I'm looking for? You can then be able to relate from different aspects of your business. But everything, I believe, starts from yourself. You need to invest in yourself. You have to.
mm,
How you manage your time, how you manage people, especially when you're working, and especially with myself. These were all new things to me, though had been. But when you're managing your own business, how do you deal with certain situations? You know,
yes,
all of these things. How do you talk? Are you a diplomatic talker? Are you authoritative talker? How do you communicate? All of these things play such a vital role of when you're speaking to different people within your business. Just to give you an idea, my graphic designer is Japanese. My chef's, yeah, she's Japanese, just to give you an idea. So their way of working and how you relate to them, Alhamdulillah, is different how you relate to somebody. Do you see what I mean? So
yes.
you need people skills. I think people skill is of paramount. And the more you can hone on those skills, the better communicator you will become in your business and different aspects of it.
I totally agree. And, I definitely agree with starting with yourself as well. And then, I mean, I know we said about, you did mention time management too. And like, what would you say, like, are like places where you have outsourced, you think, oh, it's great that you've done that because now you have got the time to focus on what really matters.
Um, so at the moment we have, I mean, obviously I have my chefs, Alhamdulillah. We have packers, Alhamdulillah, which I've outsourced. Whereas before, when we first started out, I needed to understand how you pack my box, as you know, how you pack boxes and everything. So I
Yeah.
needed to learn that myself, understand it. And that took me a little bit longer than not even I expected. I didn't know how long it was going to take. It just needed to take the time that it needed to take.
Excellent.
And that's another thing I would say is going back to your other question is to give yourself time to learn and grow and forgive yourself. I find that a lot of us don't allow ourselves. And I think the more mistakes I make, the better I've become at it. So if I don't make a mistake now, get scared. Why haven't I made a mistake? What? Because
Mhm.
I'm not learning. That's
Mm,
where I am right now. Whereas before I used to be scared of
that.
making mistakes. Whereas now when I make a mistake, I'm actually happy because it means I'm getting better. Whereas
I,
before, do you know what I mean? Before I wanted to be a know-it-all. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this. Oh, no, no. Do you know what I mean? But now it's like, no, I don't want to be a know-it-all. I actually want to be somebody that doesn't know nothing now. I'm at that stage of my life in my business.
oh, that's great. I love that you mentioned that because I think with us, like, being in business, even though this is something new for a lot of us, we're still so afraid of making mistakes. But then it is through those failures, those mistakes that you actually learn, isn't it?
It is, and it's definitely those things. I mean, I can give you so many examples, but I won't go into all of those details. But it's just like mistakes that you make. You think, oh, I can be better at that now. I know how to. I can do that now with that. Do you know what I mean?
Can you recall a time or times when you've had a challenge and what kept you going in your business?
Where does one start? I think my challenge would be
I think I know what you might be saying.
I mean, where do I start? I mean, I think
Oh,
being halal fresh and then calling it it's halal, I think that was one of my biggest challenges. And that Allah Ta'ala subhanahu wa ta'ala put me definitely through a test. And that was a test of faith. And
mm,
that was a test of patience. And that was a test of believing in the unseen. Because in Islam, as you know, we are taught to believe in the unseen and not the seen, right? And I had to really put my money where my mouth is then. And that
mm.
for me was one of the biggest challenges I went through in my life. And I think once you go through one of the biggest, I would say, once you go through that, honestly, you come out the other end thinking, if I can do that and I can go through that,
Yes,
I can now go through anything.
nothing's gonna.
Honestly, that is a mindset that I have now because of going through that journey. A lot of people said to me, don't go through it, you're going to come out the end. And I said, you know what? I'm leaving this 100% to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I lose, I lose everything. And if I gain, I'll gain everything. And
Yeah,
and I think that's what I've learned. My business is built on faith, sis. I
I love
It's
that.
built on faith. It's not built on anything other than faith. I can say
Yeah.
that. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, and I must say, like, I did read the article where you were interviewed on that, and it was such an inspiration. Like, it was such an inspiring read, and the resilience and the passion that you showed, and that strong faith. It was just, I think we a lot of us can learn from that.
Thanks, sis. And I think all of us, I mean, you have passion, you have faith, we all have it, right? And I think we all get tested in different times of it. And I
Mm,
think the best thing that one can ever do for themselves, and I'm still learning, I am not perfect by any stretch of imagination, is when
mm.
anything hits me now, rather than going, why me? I say, what am I meant to learn from this?
Yes,
That's where I
yes,
am right now.
yes.
Before it
Totally.
was, honestly, before it was like, why
Yeah.
me? Allah Ta'ala, why me? I can't do it. It's all of that, get on the masala and have your little cries in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why me, Allah Ta'ala? And then as you grow up, and I should know this, I'm 46, 47, right? And you'd think I would, but clearly I haven't. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, am I learning all of this right now? Shouldn't I have learned this in my 20s and my 30s? What was I doing there, you know?
Always something new to learn, isn't it?
You never stop learning. And I think now it's all about, I think now you just got to say to Allah Ta'ala, what am I meant to learn from this? And I hope I learn it, please. That's
I
where I am.
Yeah, I love that. I love the reframe. Definitely. That's something that, this year I've started going into like, okay, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Like Allah's trying to tell me something. What is it?
Exactly.
What is it? What better thing is this leading me to that I have to learn the skills for first?
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got it's like I'm going down this dark road, ya Allah Ta'ala. What's at the end of that dark road? And but Allah Ta'ala definitely knows better. And I think more so now, my confidence in what I'm doing is growing because I wasn't as confident. I wasn't as confident, and it takes time to grow from from it. And I still have my days of insecurities, believe me, sis. I really do.
Mm,
But
mm.
it's part and parcel of the journey, right?
Yes, definitely. Amazing. Oh, I love that share. Thank you. If you had all the money and time in the world, what would you be doing?
Doing what I'm doing right now.
I love that.
Doing what I'm doing. There is no hesitation. And I can say that why? It's because of what I've gone through. I wouldn't have gone through what I did if I didn't believe in what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I wish I could do it for free, sis. I wish I could feed everybody. I wish I could have everyone try my food. I wish I could have everyone think about what their relationship with food and and what it means in just I don't know, yeah, what I'm doing right now, but on such a scale, which I'm praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is on
Okay.
a scale. That's what I would like to be
Yes.
doing.
I mean, I think this really leads into my next question for you, which what's your vision for the future of your industry and how do you see it's allowed contributing to that vision?
My vision is to be the go-to brand of when we think of eating healthy meals and our relationship with food. I keep going back to that because I think it's really important because it does start from food. Food is mood, right? And what we put
Yes.
on our plates, I look at the Sunnah way and I implement that as much as I can, right? And the vision I have is to be beyond the UK, which I'm working on, inshallah,
Sure.
Europe, and then, yeah,
Okay.
working on at the moment, inshallah, I mean, Europe, and then beyond that, and then just to be that brand that everyone says, you know what, we were inspired by this brand. Whether you use my box or you don't use my box, but you understand my ethos as to what is it that I'm trying to encourage. And most people have. I mean, I have customers who like yourself, have come back to me and said to me, Saima, I used to have headaches. I don't have them because I understand we're eating clean food.
Oh, I love
Or
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
or I've had somebody say that and I'm not saying we're a cure food, not at all. I don't make those claims. This is what customers said. I've had another customer said that we were suffering from asthma, no longer suffer from that headaches. All of these things have helped them because it's what you're putting into your body.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Oh, I love that. And sadly, I was going on to the last question now, but
Mm.
actually, this kind of links back to what you're just mentioning. So, is there anything exciting you're working on that you'd love to share? So, I know you said something about Europe. Was there anything else?
What am I working on now? Alhamdulillah. I am working on developing more recipes, inshallah.
Mm,
I'm working on improving the website and the flow of things. I'm
right.
looking, yeah, so I'm just looking at where we are now. So this time I've also used as housekeeping as to what is it that we have currently, what do
Mm,
I need to improve on, and just keep going the way that I am, inshallah. Just keep going and keep kind of penetrating and educating and empowering and inspiring and just doing what I love. I think that's all I can do and just building on that.
I love that, and you're definitely doing that. And inshallah, may Allah, put so much barakah and success.
I mean, and you, I mean.
Amin. Thank you. And that brings us to the end of the interview. And thank you so much, Sama. That was such a great interview. Like I love hearing everything about what you stand for and what you really want to put out in the world, and that was so inspiring. So thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you, sis, for having me. I really and truly appreciate it. And inshallah, as I said, when we reopen, I'm definitely want you to try that box.
Please.
Definitely want you to try that box. Well, that recipe, should I say, inshallah. But thank you for having me. May Allah Ta'ala give you the blessed rest of the month of Ramadan. And let's speak, inshallah, soon. Okay, sis?
Okay, all right, thank you.
Take care, sis. Bye bye.